Hello, my neurospicy friends, and welcome back to the Trailblazers Rising podcast. Today, I have let me just put it nicely, a doctor that I have been fangirling after for a very long time on the social medias. You guys know that I am creeping on every single guest's social media before they come here. So without further ado, let me introduce Dr. Joy. Please, Dr. Joy, tell everybody who you are and what you do. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me, Melanie. I'm excited to be here. I am Dr. Joy Bracey. I'm a licensed counselor and I have my doctorate in executive leadership. I've been a leader for a long time and I felt a calling and am now helping people discover self-love and quiet their inner critics. I feel like that's the way that we can change the world, one person at a time.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. So let's dive in so that everyone listening can get a big, nice dose of you. First and foremost, what sparked your entrepreneurial flame? Tell us about that minute that you realized, I got to do my own thing.
Yeah, so I've been a CEO at a nonprofit addiction treatment center and mental health treatment center for 11 years. But in this society and the way things are set up, capitalism, we I'm never going to retire. I have 4 children. I'm a single mom. Like whatever is going to be, is going to have to be something that I do out on my own. The job pays the bills, but looking to the future, there's just no security net for me. So and then also there was a calling. There was just a true, genuine path that I went on of discovering self-love and inner critic healing and how that changed my life. And I'm a caregiver. I love people. I want to help people. And I could not help but share the transformation that happened. And sort of, I was very mindful as I went along that this would be something other people need and what was working for me. And I developed tools and did a lot of research to be able to present it in a way to people that works for them. So it was partly, and so far this hasn't led to any real financial change, but not, but I just trust that it will because it's a calling and it's a passion. And I just keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing the next right thing. And I know that I'll be taken care of by the universe by the end of all this.
Oh, don't talk about my business partner, the universe. I love that. Absolutely. I love that.
Best
Oh,
partner.
yes, the best business partner. That is so fantastic. So, being a therapist, what's the correct term that you like to use?
Therapist, counselor. I'm an
Okay.
LPC, which is familiar to a lot of people, licensed professional counselor. But
Okay.
therapist is more commonly used now, I think, publicly, general.
Excellent. So, who do you like helping the most? Because we know everybody listening on their entrepreneurial journey has heard or will hear or is currently hearing, you got to niche down, you got to know who you're going after, right? So, who do you
Mhm.
like to help the most?
Well, in my therapeutic practice, I end up, and it's funny, the universe has brought addiction to me in my life. I grew up in a home with addiction, and I have spent my career helping people with addiction. And what I love is that in my therapy practice, I mostly help people who have loved ones with addiction. So, adult children of alcoholic, people who have a current addict in crisis and they don't know what to do or how to talk to them. That seems to be what my therapy has focused on. And then in the Dr. Joy land of social media and my self love and inner critic healing practice, I mostly work with women who are just at a point in their lives where they want to feel good on a daily basis about themselves and about their prospects for the future. And I think there's this awakening that's happening for women. And I love that I get to be a part of that we can derive our value from inside of our own selves. And we already have everything we need to feel valuable and important and worth listening to. That we don't need anything outside of ourselves, like societal validation or a partner or whatever the case might be. Because a lot of us always feel like, oh, I'll love myself when I finish this degree or find a man or do this or do that. And really, the truth is, you have to love yourself as you are now today because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And you're not going to love yourself tomorrow either if you haven't figured out how to love yourself today.
Oh my
So,
God. Yes. Yes.
yes.
You're so right. So your platform is really based on the idea of self-love, approval from within, intrinsic motivation, that sort of thing. And as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as a neurodivergent human being, and clearly a huge lover of makeup. I'm a makeup enthusiast and have been since I was born. My mom said, that when I was little or when I was a baby, if she wanted to get ready, she would just plop me on the floor in her bathroom and I would just sit up there staring at her as she did her makeup. The perspective shift that has really helped me has been who benefits from this, right? So every time I catch myself in a point of weakness and doubting myself and, fearing rejection, fearing success, all of that sort of stuff, I think who benefits from this mindset, right? So if it's capitalism and, quote unquote, the man that benefits from me feeling like shit about myself, I'm going to stop doing it immediately.
Yeah, and that's most often the beneficiary.
Absolutely. So
Half the thousands of dollars that we spend on hair product, making ourselves look skinny or whatever, to be more consumable to others, we consume all of this stuff.
absolutely. So when it comes to masking, which is a hot topic in the neurodivergent world and on social media, because everybody, neurotypical or neurodivergent, puts on a mask to some degree and puts
Yep.
on a show to some degree because we don't want to let everybody know all of the moments. So when it comes to unmasking, which I'm sure you have been actively doing as part of your self-love journey, do you have any tips or tricks for, women that have really played that nurturing role, especially if you are helping in your therapy practice people that are connected to addicts? Is there any sort of tips that you can give us to, safe and healthy unmask?
Well, I think self-love is the foundation of all of it. So if you are trying to unmask, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, and you're doing that without a foundation of self-love, that is going to be a really difficult, bumpy process. But if you have this foundation of self-love first, then you can build things like, for example, I say one of the big tenets of self-love is trusting yourself. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm feeling doubtful or scared to be vulnerable or to do something that goes out on a limb, I say to myself, I trust you to handle whatever comes of this. You've always
Yeah.
handled it before and you're going to survive this. So if this is what you feel is the right thing to do, unmasking in whatever form that takes, and you can say to yourself, this is scary, but I trust you. If someone doesn't like it, I trust you to handle that. I trust you to take care of
Yeah.
yourself through that. Whatever those things that might come up are, if you can trust yourself, then you're going to be okay.
That's beautiful. I really do love that. I love that. Self love really is the foundation of everything. So, once we've started building that foundation of self love, how do we, as business owners and women and caretakers and all the other roles that we have to play, how do we stay motivated when we're facing setbacks or roadblocks or obstacles? What do you do to stay motivated?
Well, okay, so first of all, I think that staying motivated is really important, but I think it's okay sometimes to not be motivated. Like last week, I didn't post a single video. I just was lost in my own life and lots of things good and also some challenging, complicated things were happening. And I didn't feel motivated. And I felt motivated to just take care of me. And so that's what I did. So I think going with those ebbs and flows and accepting yourself is so important. I think as far as trying to keep your eye on the prize and keep yourself moving. I mean, because especially if your business involves and a social media aspect, which most of them do now, it can be really discouraging. So I think keeping that for me, keeping that bigger picture in mind of what is my purpose here? My purpose here is to help people, right? That is like my guiding principle, why I'm doing this at all. And if I help one person, if the video gets, 10 views and one like, that means that somebody resonated with it and it helped them. And so my purpose has thereby been served. And I'm just doing what the universe has asked me to do. I'm not, trying to judge myself on all of these arbitrary rules that we set. So instead of focusing on what you didn't accomplish or what's not going right, think about what is going right and the bigger picture. Just keep that guiding principle of why you're doing this in the first place instead of getting lost in the metrics of, maybe you didn't make as much money at your business this month as you wanted to, or whatever. Everything is so organized in such a way where you can see when something worked or didn't work, a video's views
Yeah.
or whatever. And I think keeping that guiding force of why you're doing this in the first place at the forefront for me helps me stay motivated.
You brought up a really good point of stop looking at what you didn't do and what you don't have. And there is this metaphor that keeps, or whatever the other one is, analogy, whatever it is, that keeps coming into my frame of mind and my frame of reference in shows that I'm watching and videos that I'm seeing on TikTok. And that is, if you are focused on, like, skiers, for example, when skiers are skiing through trees, they are thinking, follow the path. They are not thinking, don't hit the trees, because your brain, your subconscious doesn't hear don't or no or I don't want. Your subconscious just hears the main part of that message, which is hit tree, hit tree, hit tree. So the same thing in your life when you are shifting your mindset, right? And you have to do mindset work if you're an entrepreneur. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you, there's a reason why I took up in this industry. And thank God I'm a natural at it, because you need a mindset adjustment frequently when you're the one running a show. And,
Mhm.
staying focused on, I'm so thankful that I have this. I'm so thankful that I have this. I'm so thankful that I am helping the aligned people with the thing that I'm really good at, right? So keep the focus on, you know, if your goal is to find your first 10 clients, the goal is not, you want to keep that in mind of happy, fulfilled clients, happy, fulfilled, aligned clients, not I need to get this much, like, if you stay
Exactly.
positive, you get so much more out of it, which can be hard to do when you're neurospicy and you struggle with imposter syndrome.
Big one.
So I have done a lot of research into imposter syndrome because my special interest is research. Yay. And, imposter syndrome was coined and found and figured out and designed, well, not designed, but noticed by two women at a university in Georgia in the late 70s who were studying academic women, high achieving women, which, it was a small handful back in 1978, and how they all struggled to accept awards and accolades and promotions and stuff based on their own merit. And they had to say, oh, well, I guess everybody else wasn't as good, or, it's just because I studied real hard or I worked real hard, da 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 da. Whereas their male counterpart got an award and said, thank you. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, and it is something that affects all, I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but I do like to frame it as, imposter syndrome is like breast cancer. It can affect women, or it can affect men, but it's primarily a woman's issue. So my imposter says, who the fuck do you think you are? What does your imposter say? Because I have found with working with hundreds of women that it's all a specific message and it changes person to person.
Well, actually, mine is the same as yours. My inner critic, I call it my inner critic. My inner critic loves to say, who do you think you are? I
Yeah.
think that from a little child, I had a lot of chaos at home. And so at school, I was kicking butt. I was like, getting picked for things, winning awards, getting A's, well liked. I mean, I was kind of like a little powerhouse, like doing all the things I was supposed to do, following all the rules. I was a good girl, right? And because there was this dichotomy of like at home, things weren't so smooth and I had no control over how things went. I think there was just this thing like I'm here at school, like that was all pretend. The success at school and socially was the mask. And who I really am is a mess who has no control over anything, who can't fix her family. And therefore, who do you think you are going to school and thinking that you are somehow smart or going to be successful or worthy of having dreams or any of that stuff? Like, that's all just bullshit. And it's not really going to happen for you. So I think that's where mine began. But that who do you think you are message has just been consistent. Fortunately, I've been able to do away with that over the last few years, but it really stuck with me for my whole life.
How do you get yourself out of that thought loop when that imposter and that critic rears its ugly head?
So it goes back to self love. Now I think it would be impossible for me to even give that thought still pops in, but now it's like, oh, what are you doing here? I talk to my inner critic because I feel like it's an invitation to healing, like, or to notice what's going on or honor my feelings. Like, so if I hear that nobody is going to listen to this, who do you think you are? I think, well, what are you really worried about? I always ask myself two questions. What are you ashamed of or what are you afraid of? When that inner critic voice comes through with who do you think you are or whatever the imposter syndrome voice is, you can say, what are you ashamed of or what are you afraid of? Like usually there is some trigger of shame or fear that sends that inner critic rushing in to try and save you from whatever catastrophe it thinks you're going to make or to save you from further embarrassing yourself or whatever those somewhere in the afraid or ashamed category. And usually I'm afraid of embarrassing myself or people not liking me, which being that people pleaser growing up, I really needed to be liked by everyone and make everyone happy. And my value was derived from what I could do for others. And so and I always thought I loved myself too. That's another big piece of this is that I think people aren't taught what self-love is or how to do it. And they're told to do it. And they think they've got that conquered because we take care of ourselves, so to speak, every day. We eat, we shower, we get jobs, we do the things we need to do. But when you really have self love, like once you really have it, you know that you didn't have it before.
Yeah.
And it's unmistakable. And that self love foundation, again, helps quiet that thought loop. It helps you get right on top of it. Like, because before self love, my thoughts would run me. I mean, if a thought like that popped in my head, it would occupy me and occupy me and occupy me. And now it pops in my head. I notice it, I address it immediately, and then it can be dismissed. 'Cause once it's dismantled, it can be dismissed. Like, this is a false belief. Like, get out of here. Where before it could keep me going or it could paralyze me into not doing the thing that I was trying to do.
Yeah, the one of the foundational concepts of mindset of you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thought, right? And you can prove that by the fact that thoughts just float through the universe and then they pop into your brain. It's like the book idea that you had 10 years ago that you didn't act on and then somebody else wrote the book because these thoughts are going to come to fruition. And if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. So of course, we can observe the thought that came in and say, where do I think you came from? It's like a dream, like, okay, so I dreamed about somebody that I haven't seen in 15 years. And I have not thought about them in the past 15 years, or at least in the past day or so, right? Because there's some dreams as a energy healer and an intuitive human, I do believe that there's some dreams that are just our brain, cleansing the palate from the day and removing any extraneous observations or information that we no longer need. And then our dreams are also the way that the universe and our spirit guides can get messages through to us, right? So if somebody from your past, for example, me, I had a dream about an ex-boyfriend. When I tell you I've been married for 9 million years, very happily to the same man. And I have not thought about this ex-boyfriend that I had when I was like 17 years old. And I'm just so everybody knows, I'm 37 in 3 days. And I had a dream about him a couple nights ago, just in a not a regular, we're talking, we're in passing. It's always in a busy party or some shit, right? And when I woke up and I remembered it, I was like, oh, time to call my power back because that person is thinking about me. Because when they pop into your dream out of nowhere from your past lives, is what I call it. It's an energetic cord that they have attached to you by being like, oh, it can be any sort of thing too. It could have been, I wonder if they're doing well. I hope they're doing well. Or, I hope they're doing shitty. It doesn't matter. But when you're popping up in someone's brain and they're thinking about you, that's when you're going to start dreaming about them. So how do you handle, or what's the word I'm looking for? Balance the creative manifesting mindset, that fun stuff with the more boring, strategic business stuff as an entrepreneur?
So, first of all, I'm a creative. So, I'm a painter. I have dabbled in all kinds of visual arts, and I love the creative aspects, like the design things of, making your logo, making your website, doing all that. So, I kind of thrive on some of this tedious tasks I really feel are creative. So, I put those things in the category of creative. Like, I had to make new business cards for myself, and that seems like a tedious, like, strategic part. But also for me, that was a very creative process, and I thrive on those things. So I think where I can jam in creativity, I do. I don't just say, oh, well, let me just use the automatic format for some business card. And I really dig in and like have fun with it. So I find the creativity and the joy in the mundane tasks wherever I can. And then I'm also a naturally strategic thinker. So I feel like I've integrated the creativity and the strategic thinking to where something has to be working strategically toward the bigger goal, but also give me some creative joy. And once those things are aligned, then the magic happens. But of course, there are things that you have to do that aren't fun, like doing your taxes, your QuickBooks, for me, the math part is not fun at all. But I just keep that overriding guiding principle at the forefront. Like, for example, I do not enjoy when I have to send out emails to my book club members, for example. I feel like that's a task that's like time sensitive and I have to do it and it's not fun. But I keep that guiding principle. Why am I here? Well, I really enjoy the book club. This is a way to connect with people and to help people. And that is my guiding principle. And so this is just something I've got to do. So just white knuckle through. And I'm also a procrastinator. So if I just save it till the last minute, it'll get done.
So it's funny you should say that, because as a neurodivergent business coach, right? Business mindset for neurodivergent people only. We welcome everyone, but we cater to the neurospicies. Oh my God, I totally lost my spot. The boring part. Hold on. Let me write down this other thought that I have too that
Okay.
I'm trying to hold on to. This is another thing that I tell all of my clients and everybody at the Neurospicy Academy. Don't try to hold on to two thoughts at the same time, because then you're going to lose both of them and we're going to be in a crapshoot, man.
You should see the notes app in my phone. It's filled with a gajillion rings.
Okay. So I'll ask you the question that I was holding on to, and then maybe the other one will come back to me. What role does manifestation play in your life and business?
Man, one of my very dearest friends, Andy Page, tells me you manifest like no other. I tell you, my dependence on the universe and the daily alignment or attempt or effort to be aligned with my purpose and with what the universe wants for me is so strong that on days where I'm not feeling that, I struggle to even get out of bed. Like my functioning really depends on that. So when you say, I mean, everything that I have, I manifested. I came from a background of extreme poverty. I had a very young mother and I grew up in moderate poverty. Everything that I've achieved, everything I've done has been by following that inner guidance, that inner connection to the collective conscious, to the universe, and really feeling that very powerfully. So manifesting is a super important part. Just as a quick aside, like I had this, it's a long story that I won't go into, but one of my children is being half siblinged out and was denied a trip to Europe because of he wasn't blood related to the other family members, if that makes sense. And Mama Bear woke up and was like, how am I going to get this child to Europe? So I started learning French and just planning a trip that I had no idea how I was going to afford. And in 30 days, I leave for a month in Europe with that child. So I don't know how. I mean, I can't even tell you how I've been able to make that happen in my life, except for that I was determined that it was going to happen and I manifested the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
So how important is it? Extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh no.
I think you're back.
I lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay. I'm here.
Damn you, Mercury retrograde. We'll just wait.
You're frozen.
That question that I had that I lost midway is not coming.
Okay.
I'm here. Are you here?
I'm here.
I don't know what happened. Okay. We're just going to keep this train moving. I don't care. I've been screaming it ever since you left. All right. So again, everybody, let's keep the show on the road. So we've talked about a lot of things that are very important to neurodivergent entrepreneurs. Manifestation, absolutely %. Whether you think you're doing it or not, the energy that you're putting out is the energy that you are attracting all the time. That is just a scientifically backed fact of the universe. So when I think of the success that I'm aligning with, the success that I'm attracting, right? The ultimate end goal and how to enjoy myself every step of the way. I know, and I know that this is very important to you too, that self-care is number one on the list. And in fact, if we could come up with a better name than self-care, because self-care has such a reputation for, oh, do you go get a massage once a month and, all this other kind of bullshit. When in all actuality, you are on this planet to take care of yourself. Nobody else is on this planet to take care of you. It is your responsibility to make sure that you feel as good as possible, that you're as healthy as possible. That's nobody else's job, right? So I take my self-care very seriously. When it comes to your self-care, your systems, your routines, your strategies, what would you say is like the top 3 that everybody listening can really learn from and benefit from right now?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, I like to say that taking care of yourself and making yourself happy is a full-time job and everybody else on the planet is already employed. So you have to put yourself first and foremost. I think for me, the thing that I've learned is the most important self-care thing that I could possibly do is letting myself feel my feeling. I spent the majority of my life trying to run away from feeling quote unquote bad feelings, the negative ones, frustration, overwhelmed, anger, sadness. If I felt those things, it was like an immediate alarm to go running, to not go running. I don't like going running, but I mean run away from the feelings. So I would eat or overshop or over clean or overwork or overly focus on other people instead of myself to avoid my own feelings. And that has led to a clusterfuck of problems in my life that I can untangle now that I'm focusing on myself. So that's the first and most important thing is letting myself feel my feelings, understanding that they're temporary, they don't require immediate action, and it's okay to just feel sad for a little while or to feel overwhelmed and just to sit with it. And that doesn't seem like self-care because I think, like you said, people have this idea in their minds that self-care means happiness or peace all the time. It doesn't always mean that. It means allowing those darker sides of yourself to have their moments too, without judgment and without hating on yourself for it, and to make space in your life for that. If you are feeling miserable, you can't be giving out things to other people like good energy or successful entrepreneurship. I think we have to take that time and be like, okay, well, today is a day where I'm in a funk and let me embrace that. I'm going to watch some TV or do whatever, can make me feel better and address these feelings instead of running from them.
Yeah.
My second most important self-care thing is that I would say a focus on me, having 4 kids, being a single mom, also being the leader of a nonprofit where my agency is very much like a family and I care very much for everyone that works with me. Instead of worrying about everyone else's problems and putting my focus outward, I put my focus inward. And I've seen an amazing shift in how that actually helps me, that allows me to be a better helper because I'm more aware of my own stuff that I bring to problems and issues that other people are having. But just to focus on me. What do I need from today? What do I
Yeah.
need to feel good right now or to survive this moment where I'm not feeling good? So a focus on myself would be the second thing. And for my third self-care thing, really paying attention to and figuring out what I like and don't like, what I do want in my life and what I don't want in my life.